Can you tell us more details about from your investigations about the financial links between the special
Yeah,
envoy and Serbia and Republika Srpska?
we found out that the wife of Mr. Escobar is among the curators on a art gallery called Arts for All in Serbia that is funded by the Serbia's Foreign Affairs Ministry. Interesting enough, Art for All Gallery is owned by Marija Milosevic, which is the daughter of Slobodan Milosevic. To begin with, although Mr. Escobar denied that his wife takes any money from such activities, it is already worse enough that a spouse of an envoy of the US State Department to Pristina Belgrade dialogue is involved in such activities. It just the worst beginning of a potential conflict of interest. Considering that Mr. Milosevic is the one that's in charge for the crimes and war crimes against humanity and atrocities that's been committed during the war in 1998, 1999 in Kosovo. And Serbia has never distanced itself from those crimes and has never even asked for forgiveness, is continuing to basically in a way aspire to continue to do something like what Milosevic has been doing, considering even the fact that Serbia is led by President Alexander Vucic, whose top job in Milosevic administration was to justify crimes or war crimes against humanity and genocide committed by Serbian armed forces of Yugoslavia. This is worse enough to begin with. We allege at the frontliner that judging from the political narrative Mr. Escobar has been delivering during his mission as an envoy to Pristina Belgrade dialogue, we allege and have the right to question whether Serbia has been paying him through his wife's bank accounts. And we insist that the US State Department should investigate Mr. Escobar for those allegations. Further, what we found is a contract of legal representation of a law firm in the United States. It's called LLC McGuinness. And among the partners on that firm is Manuel Escobar, a person to whom we allege it has a familiar link to Gabriel Escobar himself. Again, Mr. Escobar, on his dismissal last press briefing in Brussels, other than attacking me personally, calling me an alleged journalist, he denied and refuted those allegations verbally. But considering the fact that the frontliners' allegations are documented allegations, we cannot accept verbal refutation of those allegations. Therefore, we insist that the State Department should conduct an investigation as a normal protocolar responsibility in order to document, in contrast, in return, that these allegations are not or are truth. What is truth in the other side is that Mr. Escobar, we allege, that may have used and abused his power in place and his friendly media in Kosovo that are funded by the US Embassy in Pristina to launch a smear campaign attacking independent journalism. They were namely attacking me in the Frontliner magazine, but this is a clear indication that these people are prepared to attack independent journalism and to attack democracy in Republic of Kosovo. So they're not prepared to stand down and just gently and with civility and deny and say, unfortunately, you've got things wrong and this is not true. They're not saying that. What they're saying is they first launched a smear campaign on independent journalism and then later came and denied those allegations. All along, claiming that text messages that we allege were sent by Escobar himself to people like Agon Malici as Bunker NGO, and Gazeta Express, which is whose articles are authored by a journalist that's been just recently returned from a US-funded trip to Washington, D.C. all those claims are like the State Department said. A spokesperson from State Department said that the allegations from the frontliner are verifiably false. First of all, this is not a language that the State Department uses. Second, further to continue, the State Department, if they will address those allegations, they will address directly to the frontliner and not through a third party, because the State Department protocolar responsibility with regards to PR intention is to reach the same readership that original outlet has launched a new an information that the State Department believe is not true. They intend to reach the same readership, and for the State Department to reach the same readership that our information that we published is not true, they have to come and deny those allegations to us. And we have given multiple opportunities to the State Department to deny those allegations or address with any sort of comments or provide any sort of documentation with regards to whatever they've got to say since January this year. We sent follow-up emails during January. We reached again in February. We sent follow-up emails in February and also in March. And there were no answers coming from the State Department to address those allegations. And what was interesting is that on two separate press briefings in Brussels hub, where Mr. Escobar was announced to show up, in the first press briefing, he showed up, but we were not given the right to ask the question directly to Mr. Escobar. Our questions that we submitted to Mr. Escobar were not read, and therefore Mr. Escobar missed this opportunity before the article was published, missed the opportunity to deny those allegations. And the question is, why did he not deny those allegations right on the first opportunity that we gave him? On the second opportunity, which was on 22nd of March of this year, we again confirmed our attendance and press briefing in Brussels hub in order to address those questions before the article went up in the public. What we know is Mr. Escobar was announced to speak along with James O'Brien, and he was pulled out of that press briefing in the last minute. However, we continued to attend in this press briefing with James O'Brien. However, we did submit our questions to address those allegations. Our questions were not answered, and our right to ask the question was denied, although we kept our hand raised during the whole press briefing with Mr. O'Brien. And we were left with no choice after nearly 4 months waiting for anyone to address anything that we were concerned about. And we decided to run the story on the 22nd of March on that afternoon. So the story was run, everything was quiet, the story was being rolled, people were sharing, people were concerned, people were writing their views and their feedback with regards to our findings. And eventually, on the 26th of April, S-Bunker, an NGO that is operating in Kosovo, that's mainly funded by the USAID and the US Embassy in Kosovo, launched a disinfo article claiming that allegations or reports from the Frontliner magazine, naming me as Vudi Xhymshiti, are verifiably false, as the State Department has exclusively confirmed to S-Bunker. But S-Bunker never provided an evidence to prove to the members of the public, for the transparency reasons, that actually State Department ever communicated them. What we did at the Frontliner in response to that, we sent an official inquiry to S-Bunker and asked them, could you please kindly provide a copy of the State Department answer to you? We would like to see and consider the truthfulness to it, and possibly maybe we even, will reconsider our article, because we will have to, give them a chance to have a say. And it is very shocking for us that they have decided to deny those allegations via a third party, but we still don't want to be inconsiderate to it. And as Bunker didn't answer to our first inquiry. And then we decided to communicate with the US Embassy in Pristina. We communicated the press office of US Embassy in Pristina. We asked them kindly to confirm if it is true that the State Department have ever communicated with S-Bunker, which in this case is a third party on the story. The US Embassy also kept silent. And then what we saw after that, we saw another interesting series of tweets from the co-founder of S-Bunker, Mr. Agon Malici, who tweets the article of S-Bunker and then says Frontliner is a dodgy disinfo outlet that is aiming to undermine the ties of Republic of Kosovo with Western powers. Wow, that's an interesting accusation. And equally, Mr. Bardi Bakia, who is the executive director of S-Bunker, also wrote the article on the Twitter and basically intended to defame my credibility, undermine my credibility as a journalist. Another interesting tweet came from the editor of S-Bunker, Mr. Visar Jambazi, who said that S-Bunker have thoroughly investigated the reports from the Frontliner and found out that none of it is true. And I'm like, really? Thoroughly investigated? Like, we spent 7 months to investigate those allegations, and you're telling me thoroughly you investigated our investigation? Like, what have you got to say, at least with a contract that we have, and we have confirmed the contract with the Department of Justice of United States of America? You know, because interestingly enough, the US State Department cannot deny the confirmed copy of the contract that's even registered in DOJ FARA records. Suddenly, some US embassy-funded NGO in Kosovo with completely unprofessional personnel when it comes to media jobs delivering a job with journalistic integrity, they are claiming that they have thoroughly investigated our findings that are, interestingly enough, very well documented. And anyway, I was then shocked to see further that the endorsement of the tweets of Mr. Agon Malici was coming from the chairman of the Association of Journalists of Kosovo, Mr. Cemal Reja. The endorsement of this tweet was coming from Flutura Kusari, who is a senior legal advisor of European Center for Press and Media Freedom. The endorsement of this tweet, which basically aimed at undermining and attacking independent journalism in Kosovo, was even coming from a European member of parliament, Viola von Kramon, whose background and her involvement in the politics in Kosovo is very, very controversial and quite questionable. Even Politico report found out that somehow in her office, some gentleman called Antish, I don't remember their right name, is alleged to be a Russian spy that may have influenced her policies and her views when it comes to the situation in Kosovo. And we have been trying to call and communicate with Reporters Without Borders and European Federation of Journalists. Unfortunately, even those entities are not responding to us. It is very, very interesting. We're quite curious to further see how this is going to unfold. We are still digging materials and allegations further on Escobar. We're finding more new findings. And lately, we received an email from McGuinness Law Firm, who claim that it is disappointed for them that we as a frontliner have been lazy enough to never contact them to check whether the truthfulness of how they got the contract with Milorad Dodik, a Kremlin awarded politician in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But the truth is, we have contacted McGuinness also right in June when we came first in contact with a copy of that contract. And McGuinness never communicated to us back. Eventually, in November, when we confirmed the contract with DOJ FARA Records, we then communicated to Mr. Manuel Escobar and sent him an email. He never responded. And we also sent him a follow-up email. He never responded. So it is interesting that how somehow these people are now responding after the article is published, but they're not responding with integrity. They're responding with a smear attack towards independent journalism. We have never said that this is truth. We have never said that this is some, we have never provided any sort of commentary with regards to what's going on. Everybody can read the article to this day and see that these are only findings that open the allegations for potential conflict of interest, and the strongest evidence of the political bias of Mr. Escobar's mission to Pristina-Belgrade dialogue is his political narrative. He constantly attacked the leadership of Kosovo for refusing to create a Republika Srpska entity in the Republic of Kosovo, which is the Association of Serb Municipalities in Kosovo.